gosh. Thank you so much for joining us on Y254 News at 7. My name is Doreen Arange. So how can the youths position themselves to start to earn a living is the question we are asking on the program tonight. And of course, we shall be talking about the high rate of unemployment in the country, especially among the youths, and how they can actually put themselves out there to start to earn a living amidst the high rate, which has gone up to 40%. And of course, our experts shall be helping us understand this high rate of unemployment and the major causative agents of the unemployment rate. Keep talking to us. 22162, starting with the word news, is the text line, or you can tweet at Y254 channel. The hashtag is Y254 updates, and we shall be getting into this conversation in a short while. Meanwhile, the highlights. And now starting us off on the program tonight, newly released data from the Capital Market Authority now show that the participation of foreign investors in the Nairobi Security Exchange has remained stuck below the 60% since June, thanks to growing jitters in Kenya's political climate.
At the Nairobi Securities Exchange by foreigners at 57.94% in June, 49.14% in July, 57.05% in August, and 55.69% in September. The number stood at 63.4% in May compared to the 72.41% recorded in April. This contrasts with the 72.41% recorded in April and the 55.69% recorded in September. Officials have attributed the fall in the third quarter to investor jitters caused by the political uncertainties surrounding the elections. The capital markets authorities in the overall exhibited resilience despite the uncertainty during the electioneering period, as the equity market performance registered improved performance. Hilda Wadhithi for Y News.
And now moving on, the number of mothers dying in childbirth doubled to 857 in the first half of this year, driven by prolonged doctors and nurses strike that have left most without medical attention during critical hours of delivery. Of health reports derived from the District Health Information System says the figure had jumped from 413 deaths registered during a similar period last year, making Kenya one of the worst places for childbirth. The ministry, however, only captures 10% of such deaths, as many others go unrecorded, especially since more than 50% of public health facilities remain closed as the nationwide nurses strike hits 135th day. The head of maternal and reproductive health unit at the ministry, Dr. Joel Gondi, said that the facilities are not working and the data could only be for those who die in the facilities. And according to United Nations, Marsabit, Migori, Mandera, Wajir, Isiolo, Kwale and Lamu counties are among the top 15 regions with the highest maternal death records, accounting for about 50% of all maternal deaths in the country. Reporting for Y254, I'm Doreen Arange. The Kenya Wildlife Service, KWS, has accumulated 4.4 billion Kenyan shillings in losses that have left it technically insolvent. According to a newly released report on the agency's finances, Auditor General Edward Auko says KWS, which is the primary state agency, is charged with wildlife conservation, reported a deficit of 680.5 billion shillings in the financial year ended June 2015, its latest audited period.
The continued sustainability of the service is therefore dependent on regular government, creditors or development partner support. The Kenya Wildlife Service has continued to record deficits that mainly arise from compensation claims for victims of wildlife attacks as well as destruction of property by wild animals. Kenya Wildlife Service blames the huge compensation claims on Parliament's decision to amend the Wildlife Management and Conservation Act 2013 that left the taxpayer with 4.83 billion Kenya shillings bill by the end of June 2016. The law requires Kenya Wildlife Service to pay a minimum of 5 million Kenya shillings compensation for every life that is lost. The Kenya Wildlife Service wants Parliament to review the compensation rates to levels the agency can afford to pay from its own revenues. The Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources says the compensation claims for death and injury alone stood at 2.3 billion shillings by June 2016. Reporting for Y254 News, my name is Patricia Muriuki.
Nakumatt's Milimani City store in Dar es Salaam was closed yesterday after failing to comply with the contract requirements, including the failure to pay rent. The Kenyan retail chain has not paid rent to Milimani Holding Limited for 3 months now.
Almost a month since senior government officials from Tanzania and Kenya agreed to work together to iron out Nakumatt's challenges. The meeting, which was held in Dar es Salaam early last month, was co-chaired by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Professor Adolf Mkenda, and the Principal Secretary in Kenya's Department of Trade, Ministry of Industry, Trade and Cooperatives, Dr. Chris Kipto. During the meeting, Dr. Kipto is on record as having assured his Tanzanian counterpart that Kenya will do everything to ensure that Nakumatt and Uchumi supermarkets flourished. Apart from Milimani City, Nakumatt's other outlets are running dry, and suppliers claim they have not been paid for the services rendered to the supermarket for almost 1 year now. Prior to the closure on Monday, the Milimani City outlet had virtually no products, to the extent that in places where one would expect to see cooking equipment, detergents, bathing soaps, and body oils, among others, there were only biscuits. Even the section that would contain multiple rows of biscuits has been spread in only one row. Most of the shelves are empty, except those having clothes, television sets, books, and home equipment. Julie Owino, reporting for Y254 Business News.
Remember, what you're asking you tonight is how can the youths position themselves to start to earn a living? How can the youths position themselves to start to earn a living? 22162, starting with the word news, is the text line, where you can tweet at Y254 channel. The hashtag is Y254 updates, and I'll stick around for that discussion coming in a short while. And now moving on, the Moroccan National Railway Office will commission the country's first high-speed rail line next year. As part of the experimental phase, the Moroccan TGV, the first of its kind on the continent, was launched on Monday and is expected to reach 320 kilometers per hour. The project, estimated at 2 billion euros, is partly financed by France through loans.
The railway line system is about to get a major boost upgrade with the launch of its fastest ever train. Engineers in Morocco are testing trains capable of reaching 320 kilometers per hour, the top speed for Eurostar, slashing journey times between the country's key economic hubs by almost 2/3. The 215-mile journey from Casablanca to Tangier via the capital city of Rabat will now take just over 2 hours rather than 5 hours when the service launches next year. During the testing on Monday, one train reached 170 mph along the stretch of track between the northern cities of Kentria and Tangier. This is already the fastest train on the African continent, as announced by French Foreign Minister Jean-Yves, who was in Morocco to sign the 2 billion euro deal between the French Development Agency and Morocco's national railway operator.
All right, so remember we had asked you tonight, how can the youths position themselves to start to earn a living? And my guest, thank you so much for coming. So I'll just let you introduce yourselves from my far left. You tell us who you are and what you do before we kick the discussion.
Well, my name is Abdulrazak Ngutia. I'm a presenter of Akumba Islam, and I'm also an assistant producer in Y254.
Okay.
Yes, and my name is Julia Wino, presenter of Tell Them Your Story and also the producer of Tell Them Your Story.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, my name is Oguda Walter. I'm a student leader at the University of Nairobi, and also a floor manager here in the morning, Y in the morning, yeah.
Big titles, producer, presenter. Clearly the discussion is...
Glory to God.
Amen.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so before we get to understand how young people can actually position themselves to start to earn a living, first things first, when we get into campuses and we choose and we get to our careers, the careers that we have, what we do in school, can we say that is a bit of a hindrance to how we can get out there to become either employed or self-employed. But sometimes you find that you might do something in school, probably medicine, then you get to realize I want to be a business person, and you have no idea of what business is. So how do you, and at that time maybe you couldn't get a job in medics, and then you don't have any idea of business, so you end up becoming unemployed because you have no job in medics, and you can't start a business because you have no idea of what business is. So can we say our career choices have been a determinant to us as young people not getting employed or becoming self-employed?
Well, to take your question, to start it off, I would say that career choices are really a great contributor to whether you're going to get employed or not. You know, many people always believe that there are only this conventional choices that people can make. Say you want to do business management, you want to do journalism, you want to do a course that people have been talking about all through, and people do not consider when they're selecting courses, is this course really marketable? Am I going to get a lot of competition from the industry, or am I going to make it? You see, it does not really sometimes matter how good you are. Sometimes it just matters how many people are in it and are in the industry. Do we need you or do we not need you is what employers really consider when they're going to get you employed. You know, first of all, no matter how good you are, you might also come and get your own experience, which where you're going to get it from if you're not going to be employed. And also comparing to people who have gotten out of school and those who are already in the industry, say for 5 years, you cannot compare these two people. When the advertisements for jobs come out, you will find that those who have more experience are the ones who are required, and it makes a lot of sense because we want to work, we want to move really fast, and you don't want to get someone who comes to learn in your place of work.
Alright, Julie, looks like you really want to.
Yes, I beg to differ. The fact that you go and do a certain career in school does not determine whether you'll get a job or not. Because you see, fact remains that so many people, I mean, majority of the guys, young people go to school, but you get to find out that most of people do not follow exactly what they want to study there. So it doesn't really determine whether you do this kind of career that will enable you to get a job or not. You can actually find yourself pursuing something else. And yes, we can look at some.
Get mentors before we actually, of course we normally have mentors.
Yes, we do have mentors.
But is it that we don't listen? Because when you get to actually you realize someone did this and they really can't get a job. Seriously, they can't get a job.
You know,
and
that's
they can't
not
even start a business.
Okay, that's not actually the case, because you see, it depends on your passion and your desires, because most of the people out here will get to listen to young people say that I did this course because of my parents, but then you get to realize people have different interests and passion. And we can look at some of our celebrities that we have, that is Wahoo and Nameless. Wahoo did mathematics back in campus, and she's a very good lecturer when it comes to that, but look at where she ended up. She ended up doing music, and she pursued that much better compared to her career. So it doesn't really necessarily matter what kind of thing you do in campus that will determine whether you'll have a job or not. It depends on your interest, your ability, your passion, your self-drive, and you can decide to be different. You don't have to be like any other.
There are many matters to consider when you're selecting your career.
If it's not a determinant, that makes it look like just go do anything, then later on go follow your passion.
It's not a matter of doing anything. First of all, if you want to do something, let me say if you went to school and studied journalism and you knew this is where you want to be, you must do research on it, because I believe it's important to actually do research on the career that you want to do. So you must do research on it. You must also get to know your strong points, like how am I going to market myself to find so that I can be the one who's standing out compared to these other people. So you must find your own, create your own niche in that area. You get
of what you said before you go straight to him. Just a moment. My response is going to vanish.
Sentiments on the same, then we'll come back to you.
Okay.
I want to be between them.
To be neutral.
And yes.
Okay.
No, there are courses you study and you are sure of getting job. No, those courses are becoming, there's a lot of influx into them, like journalism. No, not journalism, education. All those who have been trained to be teachers are teachers. Yeah, you get a job so long as you perform in that course and get a pass.
Are they all who trained really teachers?
Now that is the disadvantage. That is what I've come to.
Okay.
I'm coming to. I know there's so many people who have gone to TTCs and now they are out for around 7 years. They've not got a job. They are not still employed by the TSC.
You see, the thing is,
yeah. So I'm bringing my yes part that there are people I believe that going to the university and doing any course doesn't matter. It is in the mindset. Yeah,
It doesn't matter.
I want to give you typical examples. I want to start with this, the Embakasi MP Babu Owino. Babu Owino, you know, Babu Owino came to Nairobi. When he was reporting to the University of Nairobi, he had slippers and he carried his clothes in a polythene bag, on a nylon bag.
Yes.
Yeah, and he's now yeah, and he cannot be employed now. Nobody can employ him because he's now the employer. He has reached somewhere that no employer can employ him. And he did actuarial science, and he has practiced nothing to do with actuarial science. He's now doing law, graduating next year, and he's still doing nothing to do with law. Although he's now a lawmaker in the parliament.
I like your approach to this question.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is that it all depends on mindset.
Yes.
I think somebody can make money while in campus, when you join campus, and out of campus, regardless of the course you do.
Exactly, because you see, people go to school to just get knowledge.
You're not going to get knowledge to do nothing with it, okay? We have to agree on that. You don't not get
How do you get knowledge to do nothing in the first place?
If you go to school to be a journalist, you want to be a journalist. You want to use that knowledge to do something in journalism. You know, if you let's approach this question from this perspective. Yeah, okay, relax. My point is this. You are going to school, you want to be a journalist, okay? And you believe that you can make it up there. You see, all of these examples that you're relating to us, you've not said an example of someone who just went to college and did a particular course and stuck to it. You mentioned Wahu, who did mathematics, and now she's a musician. You mentioned Babu Owino, who did actuarial science, and now he's a politician. My approach is looking at that person who's just gone to school, focused on a particular course, and finished it, and gotten to a job that they studied for.
Yeah, there are people
You want to say that's impossible? Are you trying to say it's impossible to be able to do that?
What I'm saying is that
there are those people who actually go to campus
and
and
get
study
a
their
job.
passion,
Yep.
what
Yes.
they really love, but they still end up not getting a job.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the
looking at.
question. So is this
Okay.
career choices actually a determinant
No, it's
of
not.
unemployment?
In
That's
Kenya-
what I said.
in
It's
Kenya,
not.
It's not. In
It's
Kenya,
not. There's a lot of
confusion.
things. Yeah.
In Kenya, there's a lot of confusion as far as career is concerned. Yeah, because so many people. Do you know that like almost all bankers, those people you see at the tills, do you know that they are there? Some of them are zoology, some of them are
True, and that's what I'm telling you. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Some of them are linguists.
It
Most of them,
doesn't. It
like,
doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter.
The bankers just take people so long as you have a degree.
Exactly, and that's
So long as
when.
you have a degree, they
that's
take
when
you
you can
for like
also-
a two-week training, and then they employ you.
Yes.
So this career thing is like
It doesn't really
in
matter.
Kenya, it's messed up.
Yeah,
In Kenya,
and that's where
it's
we can also say, allow me to use this example, like some of our news anchors in Citizen and KTN News, these people did not study journalism.
most of them.
Most of them didn't study journalism. They didn't do journalism. And look at where they are.
Okay,
So we
that's
cannot say that
bringing
a
this
career
example
is
up.
a determinant
I'm gonna
of what
tell
you
something
get
that's really
to do.
important for you to know right now tonight. You see, for a journalist, you must have general knowledge, which means you must know things from all over, because your role is to educate. And if you have to educate, it means you cannot educate us upon something that you don't know about. You might have, let's have a consideration of business anchor, for example. I'm not going to name names here, but a business anchor who has studied only business, and they go to do they start to venture in the field of journalism professionally. They stand a higher chance than a student who's gone to school to study only journalism. Why? Because this business anchor who just did business in school can give real facts, can give real knowledge in business, compared to a journalist student who just went to school to study how to operate cameras and how to edit. That's my point exactly. You see,
Okay.
if you have
But
studied any other thing outside,
that is
it's
what-
gonna
that
come
is
in
why I
handy for
said-
you when you're doing
Just to
journalism.
move forward, because we can really get stuck here for a long while.
I just want
to
to
move
give
forward.
you one point, and
Okay.
then we move forward. You know, there are people, especially at my University of Nairobi, those who are called career students. it's like now being student is now the occupation. They are students forever.
Yeah, they're
I
students
think
forever. They
if
take
we
a longer
go the
time.
Abdul's way, if you go the Abdul's way, we are going to have so many career students.
Well,
Who
exactly.
finish
True.
journalism,
Exactly, and then
who
they
finish
just
journalism and start studying business and think now they want to be
to focus on certain area.
to be political journalists, they start studying political science. You will be student forever. When will you start running? When will you establish a
And
forum?
when, and you'll find yourself wasting so much
Can
time.
we safely, can,
Yeah,
can
you'll
we
find
safely
yourself
say
wasting so
that
much time.
Actually, you know, these career choices, no, they don't hinder.
They-
I want to give you a point to
they don't
consider.
hinder
Only
about
one
your
brief
employment.
point for you to consider. Out of all those people who have studied journalism and media studies, how many of them, which proportion of them is employed?
By
is
the
it a
way,
bigger one
let's-
or is it a smaller one?
Let's
I
not
want
only
you
talk
to
about
answer that
journalism.
question.
Let's go to
Well,
something
okay,
else.
let's
Let's
talk about
not only talk about
another
journalism.
course.
Let's go
It
to
does
other
not
people.
matter what
Let's go
course
to
you have
other
done,
people as
okay?
well, not just
Okay,
journalism.
business,
They're
then
accountants.
okay?
Yeah.
They're
Okay,
doctors.
then I have not made my point yet. People are interjecting in the middle of it. So listen, the two of you, I'm going to ask you this question, the three of you actually. Between all those people who have done, say, for example, hospitality, what proportion, is it a bigger proportion that is employed or not?
Let me go back to what I said. Let me go back to what I said. Let me go back to what I said.
Because of the competition
listen
in the
to all
industry.
your points. We actually, it's like we're coming to a conclusion where we can say that our educational system probably is faulty.
It has a
So can
problem.
Yes.
we say that our education system in Kenya is faulty?
I
And
But
if
at
the
it
same
is
time-
faulty,
What amount
and if
of
it's faulty, what can be done? What can be done for this system to be changed?
I don't think it's actually upon us to start blaming our education system. You know, before you got to school, you knew what you're going to do. You had the mindset. You know how you wanted your life to be. So us coming up and saying our education system is messed up, I don't know, we don't get to have this kind of careers, we're not better people because of our education system. For how long will we keep on blaming our country and our education?
Okay.
Some of the initiatives are supposed to be taken by us. You've been taken to class and you've seen, this is the opportunity that I need to make myself better in the society. So why would you keep on throwing blame games? Blame games will actually lead you to not moving on.
I
Okay,
agree
moving
that
on,
you're
moving
not
on,
going
moving
to.
on.
Yeah.
I agree
Can
that
we
you're not
say,
going
listen,
to blame.
just moving on, the skills, you see, we have young, in as much as it's like we're kind of agreeing that it might be faulty, so we have nothing we can do, you know, but we have young people who actually have brilliant minds. They have skills, they can be innovators. What happens to this young mind? Sometimes they just end up down the drain. Nothing gets, they don't get to explore anything that they have in their head. So what can be done? Is it that they need to get good mentors, or is it them who need to actually explore to ensure that they can actually
I
start
wanted to consider here is that this is Kenya, okay?
Okay.
We have so many very innovative people around, but there is no money to throw around or to go by. So, you know, there are those people who have got great ideas, but they do not have money. And we have those people who have a lot of money, but they do not have ideas to invest. You see people who just want to go out and party. Let's just concentrate on these people who have got good ideas. And there's so many things that they will want to do and they do not have the finances. You will realize that the government will say, oh, we're going to give you money to invest, but you have to come with collateral. They want you to bring land, which is not communal land, which is not land that you're going to inherit from your parents. So how exactly are you going to get a loan to start your business? Also, let's also consider you're not going for loans. Who is going to finance a business of someone who's not experienced in what you're doing? Rather, however, there are some youth who have really got the groove, they've got the business idea, and they have the way to put it out. I was just watching on TV today, during the day, a group of people who have been funded by the Pan-African group for them to prospect in whichever business they'd like to, and they were earning, but it does not happen to everyone else. So skills can be a very good way for you to get an employment, but you have to also consider you want to get employment,
Okay,
but how?
I get your point, but you know, we have to wrap this interview. So just final thoughts. How can youth identify
Hey, it was too short.
opportunities?
Okay, it has been
Starting
too
from
short.
you.
But I think,
Oh my God.
I think, just like Julia said, we don't need to blame anything on our misfortunes. No, when you are born in a hardship area, you have to, anything that is brought up or born in where there's hardship, they develop other skills that can make them go out of
Yes.
those hardships. Like when we are born and brought up in corrupt Kenya, we have to develop other things in us that can help propel us. I know youths who have started from scratches, and now they're very rich people. They didn't have capital. Yeah, they started from maybe 1,000 shillings. I know
Yes.
people. I think we should just be innovative.
Preach
We
it,
should-
brother.
We should think beyond,
Preach it.
outside the box. We should think beyond corruption. We should
Okay.
like now when we talk about unemployment,
All right.
we should be employers now.
So your whole point is youth should be innovative.
We
They
should be
think
innovative.
outside the box.
We should not think like when
Okay.
when I study journalism, I must go to studio, look for a
Okay.
job. I can create a job. I can create my own
Okay,
radio
okay.
and
Yes.
employ people.
All right, Julie, what can
One thing I usually believe in, the spirit of consulting. Don't just feel like, okay, I have this ability and I want to do this, and then you're sitting there in your comfort zones thinking that money is going to fall from heaven, and then things are just going to happen in a way that you expect them. Of course, there are going to be challenges. At the same time, I also believe in the spirit of being patient with yourself, accept growth, because you cannot come up from being an egg to a maggot just from nowhere. There's usually a stage, one step at a particular time. So the young people need to be patient with themselves. They also need to speak about them, because you'll always find someone who knows someone, and this person also knows someone. And when something is great, I don't think that Kenyans or people are that mean not to help you grow. If it's something that one day they'll look at you and say, hey, I'm proud I invested in this person and now he or she is doing a good thing, people will be proud of you and they'll be happy. And then when you tell your story, people will be like, kumbe this person did not make it on their own. Because once you get to make it out there, it's not like it's only you, it's not like it's only Doreen who's made it. Your family is also considered. Hey, yes, we played part in that. So it's a matter of, everybody wants to be associated with you. Exactly. Everybody disowns you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like the fact that the two of you
In
are
30
saying that
seconds.
you're not going 30 seconds.
In that
Seriously,
second,
come
the
on. Okay,
opportunity.
so
How can they identify opportunities?
how they're going to identify opportunities is first of all by knowing your talents and abilities and culturing them, making sure that you are very good in your talent. That is one. And then we can also buy this point of Julie saying people following you up and ensuring that you succeed by investing in you. I'm going to go to this point that you made about we're not going to blame the government, we're not going to throw blames around, which of course if you throw blames around and you're not taking your own initiative, you're not going to grow, okay? But look, in as much as that happens, in as much as you're not going to blame the government or blame anyone, we also have to agree that there are those people who join college or university and they do not know what they're doing. They choose a course just because they think the name sounds good. And there's so many of them who take courses and they do not study for them. You check their attendance form and you find there are a lot of absenteeism records in there.
That's someone who's not focused.
It's not about someone who's not focused. It's about someone who has, the initial responsibility always comes from the guider who's guiding you. Then the second responsibility comes to you. So if you choose a course that you don't know if you want to do it or not, then you never even knew how to identify what you want to do or not. You're not gonna make it. You need to be guided first and then nurture your talents. That's my parting shot for you all tonight.
But I believe at the age of 19 years, you don't necessarily have to be guided, to wait for people to guide you. You have your own mind, you have your own brains, you can move by yourself.
College or university
No, you don't necessarily have to be guided.
How many people start university at the age of 19? Are there ever?
Finish. No,
My
we have
simple
to finish.
question: How
We
many
have to
people
finish.
start university
Okay.
at the age of 19 or 20?
Majority.
So now we will finish this discussion, but clearly what we are taking home right now
Just
is from
one
Mr.
line.
From
Just
Mr.
one line. Just one line.
No one line, not tonight, please. We have to finish the discussion. But what we took from you is that you have to be innovative.
Very innovative.
Think outside the box. Abdul,
Whether
they
you
have
think
to
you
have,
can
or you can't.
you are
Okay.
right. Whether you think you can,
Just
or
be
you can't, you are
innovative.
right.
Just be innovative. Okay. For Abdul, we get that you have to have you need to identify your talents and maximize. And from Julie, you can't come out from an egg to a mango tree. It's a process. Nice parting shots. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Bucket, add that you also have to be guided.
Okay.
But
All
if
right,
you
thank
can-
you so
if you
much.
think you
No.
can, or you think
Thank
you
you.
can't, you are right.
Thank you.
So it's upon you what you want to think.
Thank you so much for coming. We've really gotten good insights, innovation, talent, and coming from an egg to a mango tree. Clearly nice insights. Thank you so much. And to our dear viewers at home, that's all we had for you tonight. Quite an interesting discussion. Remember to keep tuning in to the station to watch quite interesting discussion as they unveil. My name is Doreen Arange. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Y254. Imagine.